Man, I have nothing to play. All these games behind me, I hate them all. I need something with more games. More and more and more and more. Whoa, where did this come from? Let's see. 100,000 games in one. Nah, that's still not enough. Hey everyone, how's it going? Total Level here with another sort of emulation type video. So, been doing these a little bit here and there on my channel as we're looking at the KinHank Super Console X2 here. Yeah, had to look on the back just to make sure. So, I've seen quite a few people get kind of this version. There's other versions out there. There's probably about like 10 different ones of these, because I think there's the Super Console X2 Pro, and there's ones that offer like, you know, kind of lower amounts of games, because yeah, I have like the 256GB one that has over 100,000 games, and yeah, like other ones are 60,000 or 80,000. Now there's not going to be 100,000 in this, like I know for sure, just because any one of these ones, you know, that have that many games, they put in many duplicates, right, of different versions of the game, different regions, things like that. But I want one of these because, yeah, I just like having kind of a system where everything's in one place. One, this for kind of like the arcade games, the 2D ones, 8 and 16-bit, you know, because I love my Retron 5 and all that, but sometimes, you know, gets a little tiring when you're trying to switch out carts, and it sometimes takes like 10 or 20 tries of putting the cart in, taking it out, and putting it back in before it kind of registers on the Retron, right? So it's nice to have kind of one of these systems. So what I'm going to do is kind of show you what's inside, like probably just unbox everything and just show you inside, because yeah, I don't really have a setup to kind of overhead and then me opening up the box, right? So we'll do that. Then I'll probably start with kind of telling you my kind of cons about the system, and then we'll get into kind of the pros, what I like about it, and then overall what I think about the entire console, right? And kind of saying like who would this be for, and why you would want to buy one of these possibly, or why you would want to avoid this, right? So yeah, and we're probably going to look at quite a few different games over the next little while, because after this video I want to kind of dive into a good number of games over time, kind of just seeing what's on here, how well each game plays, everything like that, because with this review it's just going to be testing out a handful and kind of giving my almost first impressions rather than a full-on review, right? Because it was Amazon Prime Day, didn't really get much, and these ones were part of Prime Day being very cheap. But you can tell it's Amazon and everything because there was already a big dent in this. So, yeah, that's how it is. But yeah, without further ado, let's look at the KinHank Super Console X2. Okay, so now that we got everything out of the box, let me just show you. So yeah, our power cable here, HDMI cable, we have two PlayStation controllers, rip-off controllers. So yeah, took the back off of one just to show that it comes with like a kind of Bluetooth, wireless, USB reader, but it still requires two AAAs. And here's the controller up close with an on-off switch on the bottom there. And yeah, feels incredibly cheap. But we're still going to test the controller a bit. But yeah, I'm hoping can use other controllers with this. Have our remote. I probably won't use this, so it might not be in the review at all, because don't really need to use it. And then yeah, we have our kind of USB extender thing, I guess, like USB 3.0, so you can add extra controllers, I guess. And yeah, maybe also this, which has our USB with an SD card here with our games, 256 gigabytes, our 2 manuals, and then the console itself, which, yeah, I don't mind the design of this. Yeah, I got 2 USB ports. Yeah, one HDMI, AV, and then our power and on-off switch. The back, but yeah, don't mind, you know, it has some weight to it, and yeah, because I've seen other KinHank consoles before that kind of look like other ones, just like a lot of other emulator clone systems, you know, where there's one that looks like an NES and another that looks like a Super Famicom, but yeah, not too bad, you know, as yeah, we'll hook all this up and then, yeah, you'll see what I think about this console here. And so, like I said, I like to start with the cons first, just to get kind of the negative stuff out of the way. I'll start with more of minor annoyances, nothing big or anything like that. First is when you do boot up the console, it does take like a minute or two to load all the ROMs and everything like that before you can start. Once you're in though, it is quite smooth, I found. Another thing is this kind of console or whatever uses other emulations out there, like RetroArch, which is used a lot, SSPP for PSP games, and something called Drastic for DS games, which I looked it up and it's like an app for Android phones and everything. So yeah, the other thing to note too is these emulators are old versions, so for RetroArch, you will see many of the games that I played testing out with frames per second in the top right corner there, as took me quite a while to figure out how to turn it off, so sorry about that. Because normally with RetroArch you would go to settings and then there would be on-screen display and you would turn it off there. But this doesn't have that. So instead you have to go into the main menu of the console, press start, and then you can turn it off there. It's a bit of annoyance, but you know, at least you can turn it off, and once you find it, it's easy enough to do, just it took me a while. Now, DS games do run well with, you know, the few they have here, like there's only, I think, like 14 or something like that. But it's kind of weird to have DS games because, you know, just testing out Super Mario 64 for like the main games with the touch screen and everything, it doesn't work because each time you start these games, the emulator and all that will kind of automatically remap the controls depending on which game and which system you play, as, you know, for DS games that require you to touch the touchscreen and all that, you have to move with the left thumbstick and then press L3 to quote-unquote touch, right? So, not super fun trying to play games with touch controls, and, you know, since I have everything set up on my PC with Decime and everything like that, I know I won't bother playing the DS games here, but just want to quickly test them out anyways, and want to let you all know about that. Then, yeah, another sort of minor thing is, like, said with 100,000 different games, or like 107,000 whatever, there's going to be many duplicates. I don't even think there's 100,000 games on modern consoles even today. Like, altogether there might be close to a million, like at least 800,000 games, right, because of mobile and social games and everything. But yeah, on these home consoles, traditional systems, I don't think there's even 100,000 games, right? So yeah, just searching Mario and Donkey Kong, which I just searched Donkey for that, and yeah, a bunch of same Mario games, same Donkey Kong games, especially Donkey Kong Country came up, so yeah, it's to be kinda expected, right? Then we get more into sort of the bigger annoyances, I would say. So first, just say with the controller or controllers it comes with, they're pretty bad. They're very, very cheaply made, and yeah, just not super great. A lot of the controls are actually kind of close together, like I was testing Lilo and Stitch with. The controllers that comes with, kind of PS2 knockoff controllers, and yeah, it was just like I pressed down to kind of duck, but my fingers too close to, yeah, like or thumb I should say, too close to kind of the left or right D-pad, so as I'm ducking I'm also moving to the side, and it's like, okay, yeah. Now, you can plug in other controllers luckily, but you're still limited on that because, yeah, I tested just 4 Nintendo Switch Pro, PS4 and PS5 controller along with Xbox Series X. Now, the only one that didn't work was the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I couldn't get it to register or work at all. The other 3, though, surprisingly did work, but yeah, it's also one of these annoyances that you kind of have to test and play with certain controllers, and the other thing is because these games use a separate sort of emulator, you know, when you're doing like RetroArch. In order to quit the game, I found like you have to click in L3 and R3, so you kind of need a controller that can at least do that, right? So, something to be aware of. And then the other sort of bigger annoyance I had was just with some of the systems, right? Which would have been PSP, Dreamcast, N64, and PS1 games. Now, I'll start with Dreamcast, where I just couldn't get them to work. It kept coming up with an error, so I would have to kind of figure out and mess with it, which I'm not going to do, because with these kind of emulator consoles and the kind of knockoff sort of SD cards they use and all that, I am too afraid to kind of add games, remove games, anything like that, or kind of figure out updates, so yeah, I'm just going to leave it. And then when I tried, you know, kind of PS1, N64, and PSP games, there were a lot of kind of visual issues I ran into. You know, I didn't test them too much, but with like Banjo Kazooie, there was always kind of flashes in the background and everything like that. And then I played, trying to think, yeah, Tomb Raider wasn't too bad on PS1. It was, you know, decent, but there were still like some visual issues. And then for PSP, there were many issues I had. Like, I just tried God of War Ghost of Sparta, and yeah, that just did not perform well. It slowed down a lot, and yeah, just, yeah, wasn't well emulated. And then for, yeah, E7, a game I recently beat on Steam, that one had visual issues right away just in the opening cutscene there. So again, I'm probably not going to really bother playing any of these when I cover more of these games in later videos. I'm probably going to just skip them, you know, because I'm not going to be bothered to try and figure out all these settings and change everything, right? So it is what it is. And you know, for me, I wasn't expecting much. Usually these emulation consoles with 3D games and all that, when they have so many games in them, usually aren't very well emulated anyways, and your experience may be very different than mine, you know. I've seen enough videos where some people, you know, don't really have too many issues with kind of the 3D games, and then others do, so yeah. But I just want to point all that out, and with that, I think I'm just going, yeah, I think that's it for all the cons, so let's move on to the positives. So, right away, one thing I really like about this is its layout, right? Like, it's still cumbersome for sure, you know, just with the amount of games and all that, but I really love that they lay out kind of different systems, some different companies, arcade games, and yeah, I really enjoyed that, along with having pictures and descriptions of each game. Some of them have like unknown things to them, but yeah, most of them will show you a picture and quick description, and I really enjoyed that because usually with these emulation consoles, these multi-games and everything, it's usually a very bare bones screen and you have to go down one by one, right? You can't just search up any game, you can't, like organize them. You know, this one, you can search, you can put games in your favorites and everything like that, so I do really enjoy kind of the layout of this, just compared to so many other emulation consoles out there. I also like, again, that you can use other controllers. Like, again, it'd be nice if you could use whatever controller and remap that way, but yeah, it's just nice that you can still use other ones. Like, I've been using a PS5 controller for it, again, tested with the controller it comes with for a fair bit just to see what I thought about it, right? And yeah, so it's nice, and you can remap controls in the main menu. Like I said, once you enter a game, the controls kind of change, but yeah, you know, you can also remap within those ones too, but I don't really bother with that because the way they remap are usually fine with me that way. I found too that besides kind of the N64, PS1, PSP, and Dreamcast, that all these games that I tested out performed perfectly. Like, was really nice. I didn't really play around with any sort of big filters or anything. I did have kind of border up, you know, just to see, and yeah, after I took it off, because for Virtual Boy, having the border, actually, yeah, like, you can't read some of the text and all that, right? But yeah, it was cool testing the Virtual Boy because, yeah, I never played any Virtual Boy stuff, and yeah, I tried Jack Bro since I heard that's one of the few good Virtual Boy games, which, yeah, I had fun, but man, I'm glad I didn't have the system at all because, man, I have such motion sickness, and playing that for too long gave me motion sickness, so yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like if I actually had the system and played it with the goggles and everything. Like, oh man, but yeah, that's a fun game, and just everything I played worked really, really well, and, you know, looked really good. So yeah, that was really nice to see, and that's exactly what I want. Like, I don't need, you know, the biggest kind, you know, filters or anything. I just want these games to have a console to play a lot of these, yeah, kind of old classics all in one. So yeah, they're kind of all in one place, and there's a huge selection of games, right? Like, even discounting the 4 kind of systems I said didn't work too well for me. And I want to emphasize, yeah, for me, like, again, this might be different for you completely, just want to say that. But yeah, even getting rid of those, there's so many games to choose from, so much to play, and yeah, just a ton of fun with these. So yeah, really enjoy this system already, right? And having this many choices, it's just, yeah, again, nice, and yeah, I'm excited to test a lot of these games and show more videos on these games for all of you. So overall, you know, first impressions and everything, I think this, you know, is kind of exactly what I was looking for a lot of the old games. It was cool playing the Simpsons game. It was weird though because I got the 4-player one to work, not the 2-player that, like, it has 2 Simpsons arcade games on there, and yeah, that was weird, but hey, I got one of them to work, so I'm happy with that, which that was so fun to revisit, and yeah, just a lot of things like that. So why would you want one of these? So I would say you would want one of these if you're a bit like me, where you just want everything all in one place for you to kind of play and have fun with, you know, where you don't have to worry about downloading a bunch of these ROMs, trying to remember all these types of games and everything like that. Maybe you don't want to download these ROMs on your computer, or don't have exactly a gaming computer or anything like that. Maybe you want to play them on your big screen TV and your PC isn't in like a room to hook that up. You just don't have the setup you want to play kind of these ROMs or emulators on your PC, right? So there's quite a few reasons why you would want one of these, plus games are expensive, right? So until game preservation really becomes a thing, like sometimes you might look at these consoles to check out old games that you would miss, get the history, everything like that, right? And why you wouldn't want one of these? Well, if you're already comfortable just downloading a bunch of ROMs on your computer, again, I have quite a few, but like I said, I do use more of kind of the later ones of like Gen 6, like Gen 5 and 6, so yeah, like for PS1, I use, DuckStation, all that, so yeah, if you're already okay using that, you probably don't need one of these. Maybe you don't want the clutter that's in these systems, because like I said, there's a ton of clutter, and sometimes, even though you can remove games, you can add them. You do have to be careful with these machines sometimes, things like that, right? So you might not, you might only have a select few games you kind of want to play and emulate. And then of course, if you're not, if you don't like emulation, don't feel comfortable doing that, at least not, not emulating without kind of going playing these games through like the actual first party systems of, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch and all that, then you wouldn't want this anyways. But for me, I really enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think. If you have one of these machines, do you enjoy it? What do you dislike about it? And like I said, I'm going to be covering a good amount of games over time here, playing a few each time, doing little videos just to see how different ones play, kind of looking at, some more of the, I think, weirder and obscure games, maybe some Japanese games too. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Alright, thanks, have a great one. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, or if you just want to see any of my skits and then nothing else and leave the video, that's fine too. Thanks everyone, take care.